podcast where Sean
and John
and El Josh
watch shit, talk shit, and most importantly, eat shit. We are the law. Hello and welcome back to Food Court. We're live. If you're watching us, we're live. And if you're not watching us, you're just listening to us on a podcast. Either way, we're so happy to have you just taking in our content in any shape or form.
Yeah.
And we're so excited to have the late, great Josh Lewis back on the show again. Hello, Josh.
Hola. Gracias for having me.
It's pretty misshapen right now.
Spanish?
I watched our feature presentation 2 times.
I'm so proud of you for not saying red, Josh. I'm so proud of you for not saying red.
Donato.
Well,
and we also have the late, great John Burr back.
Sorta?
This is 2 in a row, which is,
Sorta.
I mean, pretty good for you.
Right before the podcast started, the Twitch stream started, I broke a lamp, which is why my lighting is kind of strange now. Apparently, it put me into full Gene Wilder mode over here. Bialystok and Bloom. I guess that I think I'm kind of a combination of Bialystok and Bloom. Actually, it's like if Bialystok ate Bloom. But I'm glad to be with you guys. If we have anybody in the Twitch stream, thanks for listening in. Sorry it was so kind of out of nowhere, but like I said, calamities ensued. But we did watch the Argentinian nouveau horror classic, Terrified, which is also my favorite euphemism for getting stoned to the bejesus belt.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing like walking into a frat house, seeing a couple guys just doing bong rips, them looking at you, pointing the bong at you, and say, "You want to get terrified?" Ooh. Nothing like it.
Why is that not a new metal song? Yeah. Why is that? I just want to hear some big bass and a 7-string guitar while somebody hollers "Terrified" at me.
I mean, if Stupefied is right there, Terrified should be like the sequel to Stupefied.
Yeah.
What Stupefied really was, it was a song for its time.
What is Stupefied?
You've never...
Sean. Dude.
Open up my world.
I've been stupefied! You don't remember that? That is the chorus. Or is it Let's Get Stupefied?
Is that Static X?
I don't know.
I can't remember who it is, but I know the end of it is like this. Get stupefied.
I like, I pretty much have just put all of the... I've combined all of the 90s nu metal bands into a super group called Puddle of Nut. Or sometimes I call them Stankybus. It's either Puddle of Nut or Stankybus. And they did all of the songs.
I like a lot.
Although the song that sticks with me most is the new Christian classic by POD. We Are, the Youth of the Nation. That's a special one to me.
That's a classic. It's got the
shouts to the chat. We have at least a few people in there.
Hello, chat.
Welcome
to
our new metal
podcast. Chad Ryden for poking in. We're still working out the kinks, but we're gonna have fun in our rooms of various dishevelment. I'm still very I'm frankly infuriated that Josh has the nicest setup. Josh, who is like a single dad who doesn't even bother to have a child, and but somehow has the perfect white podcaster setup. Has baffles behind him. At least Josh, doesn't have a bowling pin behind him like some people I know.
This, I will have you know, this bowling pin was given to me by Bill Murray, and it was from the set of Kingpin. So,
well,
it actually wasn't. It wasn't. No,
I was getting ready to fucking jazz myself.
Wouldn't that be pretty cool? That'd be pretty cool.
Jazzle.
Little jizzle jazzle.
We saw that horror movie. Josh read that horror movie. It was Terrified. But before we get to Terrified, I did my best to try to create a little movie theater at home experience.
Oh.
I made nachos.
What?
I sure did.
Tell me more.
I made nachos.
Is this a secret recipe?
And
Should we hear about this?
I made Argentinian nachos. So I did a little chimichurri sauce. And you know what, guys? Tortilla chips and chimichurri, that's too much salt. That's a lot of sodium. Don't do that. You probably should stick to your traditional nachos because I found out chimichurri plus Mexican shredded blended cheese plus salty Tostitos, it was akin to eating Orson Welles' heart. It was more salt. that I've ever experienced. But by Jove, I ate almost an entire broiler tray of them. So if I have like some sort of infarction halfway through the show, just carry it on. Somebody drive over here and hit this in-stream button. Then send it to Sean as an MP4, which will then convert to an MP3. Then we'll convert that to a wave, and then we will release it as a podcast. Get all that, Josh?
I was hanging on every word.
And in addition to these nachos, we also had something we haven't had in some time, gentlemen. I watched this on Shudder, so I think you guys had this too. We had a preview.
Oh, what preview did they give you?
It's not so much what movie it was, it's who was in that movie. The movie, it was called Stillborn. It was a kind of drab-looking, like body horror, postpartum horror, which is somehow postpartum horror is now a genre. But,
it's very big right now.
But we somehow had, I'm sure there's some abortion horror in there too, but we somehow had a movie called Still/Born. Not really sure why the slash was needed when Stillborn is a word, but it
makes it scarier.
Michael Ironside.
What?
Which I felt three emotions: shock, relief, horror.
Yeah.
Shock that Michael Ironside is in fact alive.
Yeah.
Relief, hey, Michael Ironside's alive. That's great. And then a sense of dread and horror came over me as, why isn't he in more movies? If Michael Ironside is still alive, and still looks like Michael Ironside, I might add, yet not in any movies. What the hey, man?
Maybe, you think he just signed like a contract for Shudder exclusives only?
I mean, that's a good way to get my money into the Shudder's pocket. I'll tell you that. I'm ready for Michael Ironside to make a comeback.
There was a blurb. Go ahead.
No, I insist that you talk, Josh.
Oh, well, thank you. There was a blurb on there that said it was this like something like one of the scariest pregnancy movies since Rosemary's Baby or something.
Wow. Okay. They're not even going to give old Babadook the nod there?
No. Please don't do that.
Maybe it's scarier than the Babadook.
Are you guys Babadookies?
I still haven't seen it. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Babadookie.
You haven't seen Babadook either, Josh?
Oh, I've seen it. It's Babadookie. It's shit.
Okay.
I didn't enjoy it.
I didn't think that would be a Josh-style movie because it's all like, is it all in her head? It's one of those type of horror movies. Josh is more of a, wants to see the critters crawl up someone's ass from the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the classic horror genre.
Yeah, I want to see some sort of critter.
Yes.
I want to see murder.
Yep.
Well, there you go.
I feel
everything else is negotiable.
I feel like we need our own version of Wu-Tang's Cream, where Josh can distill all of his horror tenets into something that spells out a word. I'm not sure what. Maybe. If I feel like cooter would be a good word for you.
Cooter would be good.
So critter. So we need two O's. We need a T. We need an E. We need an R.
Or an AR would work too.
Cootar.
I think Cootar starred Mark Harmon and it was kind of like a Beastmaster knockoff. But we saw this movie, and anytime Josh comes on, I'm going to utilize that East Tennessee twang to give us a summary. So Josh, hit us hard. Hit us with the only way you can. What happened in Terrified?
Okay. This is a story of a young couple that live a yard away from somebody, but he's beating on the wall so hard it breaks their wall. And then one day, the lady's cooking, and something starts whispering to her from the sewer, I think. And then
like, let me whisper in the ear, though.
Let me get up in that kitchen. And then she goes to take a shower the next day, and he hears that thumping again. The titular boyfriend. I don't know if it's titular, but the boyfriend. And he goes next door. He gets real mad. He goes next door. And then she's being beaten to death by a paranormal activity ghost. He comes back and just lays on the floor over.
Now, she was nude, so she might have been titular in that scene.
No, she wasn't totally nude.
Oh, you're right. She wasn't nude.
Yeah,
this movie does not pass cooter test because I think those two O's, those are just breasts. That's part of the cooter test.
Yeah,
the O's are actual breasts.
Firm stand-up titties. And then we find out the neighbor is somehow opened a dimension to hell, and he's trying to talk to a lady that reminds you of a poltergeist lady, but she's tall and Spanish of some sort. And then some more people come along, and it becomes more like poltergeist, except in different houses. And then you find out that the director also likes Sin City because he has a detective with a weak heart, but that heart is made of gold.
Look,
and then you find out the director
and the
writer
movie if the detective doesn't have the titular detective doesn't have a bum ticker.
Yes, true. And then you find out that this director is also into the TV show The Munsters from the 50s because he brings back a little boy, and that little boy's green and purple and dead, just like Eddie Munster.
Right.
And then another little boy sees it, and then he tells his mom. There's fucking there's like interdimensional fucking Alex Jones type blood-sucking demons that come through. They eat an old lady's head. I can't remember how it ends.
Young Wava points out that Meet the Fockers, another scary pregnancy film. Might need to throw that out there. Yeah. Aged Robert De Niro, definitely one of the ghastly ghouls of modern cinema. Faux show. Especially when they try to make him pass for a kid, as Joe Pesci calls him in The Irishman. But, okay, so that's what Josh saw. I'm not sure what Josh saw, but that's the interpretation Josh got. But what I got out of it was just kind of like... You mentioned Poltergeist, and it's kind of like a weird melange of Poltergeist and, like, I hate this. Did you ever see the weird, like, 80s, early 90s adventure, like, comedy Dream Team?
No.
Okay, well, since you haven't done that, I'm just going to use the other one. Ghostbusters. It's like Ghostbusters, it's like gritty Ghostbusters meets Poltergeist. We'll do that instead.
Yeah. I've definitely got that feel. Yes.
But I liked that there was, kind of this weird slap together paranormal team, like your Mulders and Scully, although they were all over 50 for some reason. We had an Argentinian Francois Truffaut looking paranormal expert. We had an Argentinian version of Michael Ironside as one of our guys. We had a Spanish Hugo Weaving, and then finally we had they had their own like Argentinian Tom Sizemore. And I enjoyed all of them, and I also enjoyed, and I'll go ahead and get to my my hero of the picture. I love it when there's two things. It's two sides of something. I love it when the person you think is going to be the protagonist is not the protagonist, because I didn't think Tom Sizemore, which I'm so sorry I don't know his name, but I did no prep because I broke a lamp.
Are you talking about the detective with the bum ticker?
Yes, the detective with the bum ticker.
Okay.
I thought he was like, I was like, oh, he's the first one to die.
Yes.
They set it up. I should have realized they gave him too many character traits to die that early. But then the other thing I like is that anyone else could and would die.
Yes.
All bets
or, even worse, could be torn apart by an interdimensional rift and become a kind of monster person.
Yeah.
A fucking Thing-esque monster person.
Yeah, there was a lot of homage to sundry movies, particularly The Thing.
Lots of Thing.
A
whole lot of Thing.
And that was, to me, that was like the best scare of the movie. What was your favorite scare of the movie, guys? My favorite scare involves an homage to The Thing. I don't want to give it away, but there's an homage to The Thing, and you'll know it when you see it. But the way it's framed is quite nice.
Yes, The Thing homage is great. I think my hero / favorite scare is also kind of funny, so maybe not the scariest, but I love the dead kid. I just love the dead kid.
Yeah.
They just like walk into this room and they're like, you just got to see it. I can't really explain it to you. And they walk into the room and there is a somewhat decayed dead child just sitting in their kitchen.
Is there room in the Josh Lewis Cooter system for a dead child?
I'm imagining that as soon as we figure out this acronym, we will definitely put dead kid in there.
Yeah, we just got to find like a T, an E, or an R for the dead child to be in there. But I feel like that could fit. But you're a bit of a dead child connoisseur, Sean. I believe you liked the movies. You're an Insidious guy. You like the newer horror movies.
I do.
So I feel like you probably like this movie more than Josh and I like this movie. But I don't want to speak for Josh. So so give me your opinion real quick.
I liked this movie probably way more than both of you.
Right.
And just guessing that you didn't love it.
Like, on a sliding scale, like, I would say this is like a C+ horror movie.
C+?
Yeah, I would say this is like a C+ horror movie. I like I like a couple of the scares. I think it has a great opening. I like a couple of the scares, but then it kind of gets too like Guillermo del Toro-ish for me at times.
I can see that.
I thought that all the jump scares were given away just by whenever the camera stops, someone's about to get hit by a car or pulled into another dimension. It's just when you move the camera that much and then you stop it, you're kind of breaking a tenet of cinema. Like you're giving away the ghost, as it were. But I still liked it pretty much, and I am horrified that I think Guillermo del Toro is indeed remaking this movie, and I'm sure it will be infinitely worse. Even if he does get the original director, I got no trust in the man any longer, despite his Oscar accolades. But for me, it was C+, which means pretty good. Let's go. Okay, all right, I'm gonna go B- because I quite like the casting and the acting. So, Josh, what were you into? What was your grade on this one?
My grade, definitely, just a straight up C. I mean,
I knew it.
It was fun enough. I mean, I had a good time. I probably enjoyed it more the second time because I kind of knew what was going on, so I didn't pay attention to reading it the whole time. I could actually watch the fucking movie. Any movie, I'll give at least a C to if they get a kid ran over by a bus tragically within 20 minutes.
See,
I mean, you got to look at that.
I mean, I've had it with that. I saw that in Pet Sematary. I feel like it's in every other movie now. Someone's going to get hit by a car suddenly.
It's in a lot of movies.
It went out with, what's the Coen brothers flick with Anton Chigurh?
No
Country for Old Men. I think that should be it. That's the limit. Past Final Destination and No Country for Old Men. No more jump cut car hits. I've had it.
People get hit by a lot of cars. It happened in the Unfriended sequel, and it was just like so obviously going to happen in the Unfriended sequel.
Right.
It does happen too much.
If you're not,
I didn't see this coming. I'm a pretty big dummy sometimes. So I just saw a little kid fucking around in this dude that has monsters in his house's yard, and he's like, "Get out of here! I'm doing this for your own good." And the kid just backs up. Now that I think of it, I probably should have saw that coming. That was pretty fucking obvious. Really fucking obvious.
Josh, I gotta know. So here's a curveball for your. First, I have two questions. If this movie had been in English, would it have been an A+?
No.
Okay. No. Second question. There's a character who I believe is supposed to be American, who definitely is not American, judging from his accent.
Portuguese, at least.
I think he's German or something.
Well, he speaks English a few times during the course of this film. What does that do to a man that hates subtitles? Does that light up the room when you hear a word that you can understand?
No, I'm still reading it because it's still in subtitles. So he says, darkness and light.
That's right.
Darkness and light. And I was like, I'm reading it already. Why even put English in this?
Why
I'm going to read it.
Why do you even say it? Josh, let's go down. Let's take that to its natural and logical end game. If a movie is going to have subtitles, should it even have sound?
I want old Tommy piano music in the background. That's it. Nothing fucking else. I just want to. Whenever I go to the theater, I want to see a woman on the stage or to the left or the right, blocking the exit, just playing a piano while it happens, watching it, just getting her own score.
We're gonna get to the rest of our heroes of the picture. If you can think of anything else that Josh needs to add to his Cooter system of film excellence, please put it in our Twitch thread. But, Sean, we haven't gotten to your Euro yet. What was it?
Okay, Dead Kid.
Yeah.
Dead Kid is the big Euro for me.
Really? That was the Euro? Dead Kid?
That's my favorite part.
Okay.
I love it for many reasons. There's a few other Euros, but that's my main Euro.
Right.
I love that part because it gets to a lot of the things that I love about the movie is like, okay, one, it's creepy.
Right.
And you go, oh shit, this is creepy. And two, it's kind of funny, which is something that not all the time, but occasionally this thing does quite good. Is there's like funny stuff that is also fucked up.
Right.
And I also love that the investigator dude Not Tom Sizemore, not the detective, the older man who's investigating. He gets right up in his face, which just fucks me up so bad. I hate it. But I love that he just gets so close to the dead kid's face.
Yeah, the first half of the movie is pretty awesome. It just sort of falls apart when the, eye trauma, eyeless Guillermo del Toro-esque monsters show up. I would have loved to see this movie if they didn't have the budget to even show the monsters, That's kind of what lets me down. Although I think I'm creeping more and more towards just a straight up B, the more we think about it. Because we have to watch so many bad horror movies. Here's where I'll put it. For longtime listeners, I liked it less than The Lodge.
Okay, sure.
Which I quite liked The Lodge. But I certainly liked it. I think I liked it better than any other horror movie we've seen in the past year. I liked Midsommar a lot, so...
Midsommar's really good.
But it's totally fine. It's like a good horror movie that I'm hoping more good things will come from. I wish he wasn't remaking his own movie. But Josh, what was your favorite thing in the film?
My favorite thing is it wasn't The Lodge. I thought that sucked. But I liked in this movie how some certain independent horror movies or small budget horror movies, they get bogged down in explaining what's going on. There's always somebody there that runs in and just goes, oh, this is interdimensional vampire beings from Alex Jones' world and all this shit. Everybody's like, oh, geez, really? And then they go into a history of it, and you don't need it. It's never needed. They didn't get bogged down in that at all, which kept me kind of in it a little bit longer than I thought I was going to be. And I thought that was pretty cool. And they were discovering stuff as we were discovering it. You know what I mean? They discovered that the monsters didn't like any kind of light source. They only stuck to the dark.
Right.
They did a really good job of that, of just being like, hey, we're discovering this. And ultimately, they didn't discover everything. Yeah, they were just kind of figured it out. Like you were on the journey with them. I really dug that.
You bring up an important thing about horror. Horror, you need to establish rules. It's okay to later break those rules, but you need to establish rules so that we can have tension and suspense. Mm-hmm. If you don't have rules that sometimes the audience knows it and the protagonist won't know it, but the audience needs to be kind of a step ahead of the protagonist. And rules like that gives you an opportunity, affords you the opportunity to walk that razor's edge. And I thought this movie, for the most part, as we sit here talking about it, I like the movie more and more. It's just, it kind of just devolves a little bit. I feel like this movie, I've never said this ever, I feel like this movie needed to be longer.
I can see that.
It moves at an incredibly brisk pace, but there's no real second act where we ease into things. It's just all right, there's got to be an explanation for this dead kid, and there's no way this dead kid is moving to straight up, this dead kid has been sucked into another interdimensional portal and is now a scion or vessel from the interdimensional portal that will suck you into the interdimensional portal and and just 0 to 60, which usually I enjoy, but in this one it was kind of if you blink, you'll miss it. This would be a terrible, if you were in the theater, this would be a terrible bathroom break picture.
Oh, yeah.
Very hard to take a bathroom break. I kind of like the way it unfolds in that way.
Right.
I like because the first time I watched it, I mean, this is probably the third or fourth time I've watched it just because I like it so much. But the first time I watched it, I remember thinking, okay, they have the first story. The first story is a woman looking in the sink.
Right.
And then she gets just beaten against walls till she's bloody and dead.
A great setup. And then there's a great movie setup.
Yes. Yeah. Brutal setup. And then there's some other guy. And the first time I watched it, I was like, what the fuck is this? I thought legitimately that it was an anthology movie, that it was just going to be a few short stories.
Yes.
And then once they were like, oh, this is actually my next door neighbor, I was like, oh, okay.
Kind of wish that it had been an anthology movie in a strange way, that it had been more of a series of unfortunate events, not Lemony Snicket, but more like a Jason Voorhees series of unfortunate events, because I feel like there was some potential there that maybe something was going on with the whole neighborhood. Kind of get me with that Gate vibe. You remember the Gate, Joe?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Gate, one of the great kills of all time, Barbie doll leg to the eye.
That's a good way to kill somebody.
I don't remember that. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Barbie doll leg to the eye. There's some...
Are you talking about part 1 or part 2?
Oh, no. I didn't know there was a 2.
Oh, yeah. They kill a gerbil at the beginning of it.
Oh, shit. What did Pete have to say about that? Is that do you think they really killed that gerbil?
I hope so.
Is it Richard Gere's gerbil?
Whenever I'm watching an old horror movie, they got it
out, and he's like, "Finally, I'm saved," and they're like, "No, we're sacrificing you to Satan." Oh,
whenever
be careful what you wish for. Is that moral?
Yeah, whenever we watch an old horror movie, I have like cannibal Holocaust syndrome, where I'm always like, "Man, is that a real turtle? Are they killing that?"
Oh
tortoise?
yeah.
Like we just watched for Joe Bob's last drive-in, we watched Profondo Rosso. Ooh, I did the thing he doesn't like. I called it by its Italian name. Deep Red, as it were.
Deep Red.
I feel like that little girl killed that lizard.
She did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was a real lizard.
Yeah. She really killed that, and they killed... What else did they kill in there? They killed another animal.
Kill a bird?
A bird.
Bird with a knitting needle? Another great cinema kill? If you can kill a bird... What's more impressive? Mr. Miyagi catching a fly with chopsticks, or an old woman killing a needle with a woman killing a bird with a knitting needle?
I think Mr. Miyagi faked it. I don't think he really caught that fly. So an old woman.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
True.
All right, Mr. President. Okay then.
Fake news.
We've gone on long enough about how much we like everything.
Okay.
Let's get to the dark side of things. Let's get to our low man of the totem pole. Josh, what didn't you like about Terrifier?
What I didn't like about it was, okay, so they, you know how I said I liked how they didn't explain anything?
Right.
What's that?
Besides subtitles.
Okay, well, that goes without saying.
Right.
Or reading.
Yes.
What if people are just now, what if they're subtitling this? Are you subtitling this?
I could.
So people have to read it so they'll know my pain?
I could.
God, that would
We've
be
actually muted it so they only can read it but the subtitles are in they're in Farsi. So if you can't read Farsi, then you just read lips, then you have no idea what's happening.
It's too bad. You guys should spring for that wingding font.
Oh, yes.
So people could try to read wingdings.
What was William Shatner's language that he tried to get off the ground? Did a whole picture in?
Oh, he did a movie. I've seen that movie.
Yeah.
What is it called?
I want to call it Suntory, but that's a Japanese whiskey. Chat,
I can't think of
what is the William Shatner language film like that he did Tech Wars in? If you know, please let us know. But Josh, as you were, you're low man.
So like I said, I really liked how they didn't dilly-dally explaining anything. One of the worst parts about that movie is they didn't really explain anything. And it started coming up where I was like, is this where it goes? Like, okay, so the the detective, he's like, I have a heart condition. And everybody's like, why are you telling us? Well, we don't care. We don't care that you have a heart condition. You're fat. You probably do. You're old. And he's like, okay.
I'm sitting right here.
He's like, it's like a coagulant problem. I have to take like anticoagulants or something. Everybody's like, cool.
That's Portuguese for heart condition.
Yeah. They were just like, nobody cares. And then I think he has a heart attack at one point or something happens.
Right.
And he falls down. And the Marilyn Manson monsters, he's creeping up on him. And you're like, well, he's dead. And then he just wakes up.
Yeah,
so
they just sniff his butt and go away.
Yeah, they just see he's friendly, and they're just like, we can go play. And which made me have to think and be like, is that part of it? But they don't really bring it up again, which makes me wonder, was it even meant to be like that? Or was he just written in as a hero later? You know, maybe I'm looking into an hour-and-a-half movie too much, but it just made me just be like, okay, I'm thinking about that too much, and I'm not following the movie, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I didn't want him to take me by the nose and explain everything to me, but something a little bit, like you were saying, a little bit more cut and dry would have been nice.
I don't know that this is the right answer, but I have some feeling that like they're not killers. Right. I mean, they're killing people, but they're not trying to kill people. They're just like some dudes from another dimension who don't know what their powers do in this dimension. Is kind of the way I've felt it. I don't know what that has to do with his heart, other than that, like, if he's already dead or if he's having a heart attack and he's dead, then they don't think of it as like I'm going to grab this guy because he's a dead guy. But that also may be because I just want you to like this movie so much and I'm trying to help you like it.
Never try to reason with a mad dog. And if Josh Lewis is anything, he is a rabid, frothy monkey. So just let him struggle with it. My least favorite thing, my low man is very minor, but so I really love that they did a lot of work with perspective and camera perspective, particularly in the opening shot. In the context of the movie, ends up having quite a bit of depth and gravitas to it. Coming up the sink, coming up the drain from the other side. But there's a part where the German who speaks English and Spanish paranormal investigator literally says, "It's all about perspectives. Darkness and light. Darkness and light." You don't need to spell it out. Like, Josh is angry they're not spelling it out for him as far as taking us plot-wise. I'm angry that they did spell it out for us as far as thematically. You don't need to do that. That's slop. It doesn't bother me that bad. There's not a whole lot of things that bother me about this movie other than that little tiny line reading. And then, honestly, just probably saw too much of the monsters. And I'm just kind of tired of, like, Resident Evil, CGI
Silent
monsters.
Hill.
Like, yeah, Silent Hill. Like, it just was nothing breathtaking. Like, I get into monster design. We're horror dorks around here. We get into stuff like that. They did some cool stuff with their, like, homages to The Thing. And it just, honestly, the monsters could have been scarier. And that's a complaint I have. And when you're talking horror, that's not a minor complaint. Sean, yours?
No, not at all. I think that two main things. That's probably the mainest thing is if I know this movie probably couldn't have a few more $1 million, but if they had a few more $1 million to make all the CG creatures real,
right?
If those had all been guys in rubber suits,
practical effects, right?
That would have been just amazing.
And honestly,
they wouldn't even have to make it rubber suits because the lighting was so dark. It could have just been they could have had just like a tall dude.
Well, why?
And they could have just
on
it, moved him around a little bit.
Yeah, why couldn't these monsters have all been played by human beings? They all were human beings.
Yeah,
that's true.
It could have been. Young Hueva brings up in chat. There's movies like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, or the movies like Evil Dead 2, where you can make these were humanoid beings. They didn't need to be, 7 foot tall thin man knockoffs. It didn't need to be that way. And I just remembered, boys. Did not look it up, and chat didn't help me. In fact, chat told me that Miss Congeniality was the movie that William Shatner once used the language Esperanto.
Esperanto
is the language. But
did you remember the Esperanto movie? Because I have seen it.
I have not.
I remember renting it on VHS.
Is it based off one of his books? Is it a tech war novel?
No, it's like a horror movie. It's like a creepy gothic, as I remember it, a creepy gothic horror movie, but it's in Esperanto.
Well, I didn't mean. I had to get that off my chest. When you remember something like the fictional nonsense language that William Shatner used in one movie, you got to get it back out into the ether. But
well, he wanted it to be universal language to bind all peoples, right? Isn't that what the point of it was?
Like you do.
The Tower of Babel.
Oh,
yes, exactly.
There we go. And then what a fitting title. But that's Shatner at his most Picard for all you Star Trek fans out there.
That's true. He wanted us all to be able to speak the same language. Number 2, Lo Mein for me.
Yeah.
And this is obviously the bum ticker is an obvious thing that's in everything. I am tired. In addition to the bus hitting people, I'm tired of the heartbeat sound effect in movies. I just never want to hear a heartbeat sound effect in a movie ever again.
On a similar note, hearing aid gags or hearing gags or hearing related gags or anything where the sound goes, wait, no.
Yeah.
No more. No mas. Saving Private Ryan did it best. We don't need it again. You don't need to knock that off.
It does a lot of those bits.
Right.
But like once they start doing the heartbeat thing, I'm just like, oh God, I've just countless, so many movies do this heartbeat thing. And even as a guy who quite likes / maybe even slightly loves this movie, just that heartbeat, that heartbeat bit, it's just like, fuck, why? Stuff like that and like the bus thing is stuff that I think like, okay, so no one in the process just went, this is hackneyed. This has been done so many times. Why are we doing it?
You're making me like this movie less and making me realize that this movie, there's nothing original. There's nothing original about it. Every scare is from another movie.
No.
Oh man. So now I'm going back to C, just straight C. I'm with Josh.
Straight C?
I'm going straight C. Josh and I are giving it a C. We'll round your, what did you say, A+?
I would give it a B+, probably.
All right. So we're back in the C-. It's an F. The movie's an F. It's an unoriginal farce.
Throw it away. Do not watch this.
Well, for me, can I defend it briefly?
Chad is pointing out that he meant Miss Congeniality as a joke, and my joke was a joke on his joke. So now we've gone full Michael Caine and Miss Congeniality, and now we're at the heart of the matter. I have a question for you guys.
Okay.
This movie obviously very influenced by Poltergeist.
Yes.
Therefore, is this filmmaker Spielbergian or Hooperian? Is he influenced by Spielberg or Tobe Hooper?
Oh, I feel like he is Wanian. I mean, this feels like it's absolutely a Conjuring / Insidious also ran.
Yeah.
And I like those movies quite a lot, so it is kind of in that style the most to me. It never feels Spielbergy or Tobe Hoopery.
Right.
In any moment.
I guess in a roundabout way, I'm asking, do you think Steven Spielberg directed Poltergeist, as is well rumored? Or do you think that's a Tobe Hooper jam?
I have no fucking idea. This is the problem. Like any reasonable person, I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Right.
I think it's a masterpiece.
Right.
But I don't love most of his other movies.
Okay.
Which makes me think that maybe Poltergeist is not his movie all the way, because it makes me think that maybe Texas Chainsaw was like a great happy accident where he just got so lucky and made a great movie. But
Josh, do you even care?
I do care a little bit.
Okay.
Poltergeist was the first horror movie I ever watched.
Right.
Whoa.
And I will admit, after finding out that Steven Spielberg had something in it, it made me wonder.
For those not in the know.
Okay, yeah.
It was produced by Steven Spielberg. It was directed by Tobe Hooper, but it has always been rumored that Spielberg basically ghost directed it. Now, it's come out since then, cast and crew have defended Tobe Hooper, but then there were always cast members who said, Spielberg directed me in this scene. I don't know what Tobe was doing at this time. So now there's kind of an endless conversation about who done it.
So there's
it also feels more like a Spielberg movie than it does feel like a Tobe Hooper movie.
Sure.
But also, how many movies did Tobe Hooper have fucking that much money to make? Not that many.
One.
You go ahead, Josh. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. One.
Yeah, just one.
Poltergeist.
It was Poltergeist, yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it was reshot. I feel like it was directed by Tobe Hooper for the most part. And then Steven Spielberg went back and reshot scenes that he wanted to have a certain way. Because there's like a family feel during a majority of the movie. And then all of a sudden a guy peels his face off and a clown chokes a boy. And then there's dead cadavers in a fucking swimming pool hole. And all that.
Man.
So all of that felt very Tobe Hooper, and even the camera was moving weird and shit like he would use in Texas Chainsaw, or it was even moving in Texas Chainsaw like whenever they started doing the Steadicam stuff of like building the tension of walking to a place. They kind of did that. So, I mean, if I had to guess, it was 3/4 Steven Spielberg's movie, and he just got Tobe Hooper's shit, and just went, let's keep the peel the face off scene for Tobe.
Right. I'm in the camp. It's a perfect synthesis of two master filmmakers. It led to one of the great horror movies of all time, and a movie that kind of shows you why this movie doesn't exactly stick the landing, but I'll definitely take more of this and less of like Happy Death Day, Fantasy Island remakes. I'll take more of this.
Oh, God.
Let's do this.
Did you see the Fantasy Island remake, Josh?
No.
What?
Oh, my God.
The COVID broke out before I could get to it.
I'm afraid that was my last COVID picture. Pre-COVID picture, yes. That was the last one I snuck out to see.
I bet I have a list. What was my last? I feel like I saw The Way Back like 10 times right before COVID told us not to go anywhere anymore.
I guarantee you Josh did not see The Way Back.
Yeah, you nailed that.
You didn't see The Way Back? It's like like your life story, essentially. You should see it.
Josh
I don't even know what it is.
Josh has the boozing and the shame, but he doesn't have the basketball coaching.
Oh, that's true.
One. Yes.
You should.
You'll remember it come Oscar season when it inexplicably wins Best Picture, and we have to live through another Affleck as auteur year in the press.
You ready to hear
the last
3 movies that I watched? The last 3 movies I watched at a Regal Cinema near you.
Hell yeah.
Hit me.
Number 1, or the oldest one, would be Call of the Wild with you guys.
Nice.
Fantastic film. The next one would be 3 days later, whenever I watched The Lodge.
Yep, sorry. Yeah. I liked it. You hated it.
Lodge rules.
And everybody that I accidentally met, friends at the theater, well, all 2 of them, hated the movie also.
Sanity.
It started out great.
Best movie of 2020.
Possibly the final movie that I'll ever watch in a theater, because the world is changing and structures and economies are falling apart. Men are eating the irradiated flesh of other men. There's wild dog packs. There's rats in New York City.
There are men acting as dogs in movies.
There's men wearing wetsuits and taking dogs' jobs.
Yeah.
And good, hardworking American dogs.
Are you doing the Bill Murray speech from Ghostbusters?
Oh, from Ghostbusters.
Black people need to stop acting like black people.
The final movie that I possibly will ever watch in a theater, The Invisible Man with what's-her-face from Mad Men.
Right. Hell yeah.
Hey, that's pretty good compared to Fantasy
Pretty
Island.
Solid. Man. Pretty solid last movie.
Invisible Man story? Acting? Wow. Directing? Wow. Yeah. But they definitely picked up a script that was threadbare and just went, we'll act and direct the shit out of this. And you'll see.
Well, that was his script.
That's the Lee Wan-Away.
That's his main skill is directing his scripts into good movies.
Stick with directing.
Well, we've talked enough about Terrified. Josh, thanks for coming on. Tell us where we can find you online.
2621 Air Park Drive, Nashville, Tennessee.
I'm leaving that in.
I can't wait till we get the text asking to cut that one out.
Don't know which apartment, and there's several.
Oh, okay, good point.
At the Josh from TN on all social medias, and now TikTok, which I don't know how to use and probably refuse to use.
Yes.
Next week, we're going to have a special guest comedian and filmmaker Seth Pomeroy on the show.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Are
we still watching Capone?
And you, Food Court listeners, viewers, watchers, tweeters, twitchers, TikTokers, are sentenced to watching Capone, which is available.
Boy.
There are many ways you can rent it. And I'm also going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I know Seth is going to do. I know not everyone can do this, but we're going to give this a shot. I'm going to watch it. I know Seth is 100% going to do this. I'm going to try to do this. Watch it in a virtual reality theater. So Seth has been wise enough to get some VR goggles and Oculus, I'm assuming for pornographic purposes.
Yeah.
He told me he plans to watch it in such a way. And I have a few friends who have VR headsets. I'm going to try to borrow one and watch it in a VR theater. So we're going to bring the theatrical experience back to Food Court. I know that in a world where we were going using Regal Pass and Movie Pass, that spending actual money on a movie feels bad. But you know what? Think of it this way. We need to support it somehow. We can't have all of our movie villains be nude, 8-foot-tall CGI Argentinian men.
We need to support Josh Trank's career. We need a Fantastic Four Part 2. That's why we're watching this movie.
I'm a Trankophile. I like Chronicle. I don't know what happened to Fantastic Four. I like Chronicle.
Rules.
I'm not giving up on Josh Trank. So let's check this one out. It's got the hard man. It's got the Hardy Boy in it. Tom Hardy is Al Capone. What could go wrong?
Are you worried about borrowing somebody else's VR, knowing that they've been jacking and sweating into
I'm no longer going to be borrowing my friend's VR headset, but our featured guest, Seth Pomeroy, will in fact be doing it. But Josh, thanks again, and Sean, send us out with our own tags, hashtags, and where they can find us.
Follow us on Twitter at FoodCourtCast. That's really the main one. Give us like 15 stars on iTunes or Spotify or whichever one of those you use. I don't know how you rate things on Twitch, but could you give us 75 stars on Twitch? And listen to us next week as we talk about Capone. May I say to all of you sweet boys, bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Ta-ta.